Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8 p.m. on LA56.
Vice President Joe Biden is in town for a series of Democratic fundraisers. Expect some traffic tie-ups on the already congested West Side.
We're learning more about the 5 teenagers killed in a crash in Orange County and about the 6th who survived but should not have been driving.
A fan beaten at Angel Stadium in serious condition. We are getting new information about him as police continue to search for suspects. Good evening. I'm Mark Brown, in for David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. Vice President Joe Biden, visiting Southern California, is here to attend a pair of Democratic fundraisers and help the mayor make his case for raising the minimum wage. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson is live in Beverly Hills with the latest on the visit and the traffic tie-ups it is causing on the west side. Alex?
Well, Colleen, the Vice President has left here, headed to yet another fundraiser. We are in the middle of the midterm election campaign. Some of these races are very nasty and very expensive. Some of the most competitive races are not here in Southern California, yet once again, party leaders have come to Southern California to help pay the bill. Away from Vice President Joe Biden as his motorcade leaves Beverly Hills. Tonight he's attending a fundraiser at the home of Jim Giannopoulos, the president of Fox Filmed Entertainment. Democratic Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is co-headlining the event for female Democratic candidates. Carole King is providing the music. Earlier, Biden was at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel raising money for Bruce Braley, the Iowa Democrat running for the U.S. Senate. As always, his visit means lots of security and lots of traffic tie-ups.
They're really frustrated. It seems like they're turning their cars around.
Tomorrow, the vice president is expected to join L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti in East L.A. to push for an increase to the minimum wage. You'll want to avoid the area around Santa Monica and Wilshire in Beverly Hills from 8 to 10 a.m., near North Broadway Street between 19th and Daly Street from 8:30 to 1, near Spring Street between 19th Avenue and Arcadia Street from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., near Cesar Chavez and Grand Avenue from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and near Grand Avenue between Cesar Chavez and Olympic from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So after leaving L.A. tomorrow afternoon, the vice president is expected in Bakersfield, where he's going to do a fundraiser for L.A. native Alex Padilla, who's running for Secretary of State. Meanwhile, his boss, the president, is expected here in Southern California on Thursday for a fundraiser at the home of Gwyneth Paltrow. Reporting live from Beverly Hills, Alex Michelson, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Alex, thank you very much. Can they expect some cooler weather once they visit here? Jonathan Novak is standing by now with that. Jonathan?
I like to give the good news. We got cooler weather ahead, in fact, Mark. It's been pretty unbearable lately. Today, I know you were outside probably saying, hey, it's still hot out. But believe it or not, temperatures were much cooler than the last few days have been. Still above average, but we're getting there, folks. We're working on it. 76 right now in Long Beach. Nice evening ahead. Some clouds at the coast that are going to move in tonight into tomorrow morning. You do want to watch out for some patchy, dense fog in the coastal areas tomorrow. At 70 at the airport, by the way. 68, good evening, Oxnard. Still warm. Ontario, 85. 81, Van Nuys. 83, Santa Clarita. Changes in effect tomorrow. Cooler changes, in fact. 73 by 9 a.m. We're in the mid-80s only by noontime. Yes, that is above average, but it is on the cooler side of things, which is nice to hear. I'll tell you how cool it gets coming up at that 74.
It is very nice to hear, Jonathan. Thank you. We'll see you in a minute. A Huntington Beach neighborhood is blocked off as police investigate reports of a man barricaded inside an apartment. Some neighbors have been evacuated in the area of Alabama Street south of Indianapolis Avenue. Police were called to this home this afternoon. They believe the suspect has fired at least one round. They're trying to make contact with him, but they haven't had any success. Police say it's unclear whether anyone is still inside.
A day of mourning for several families and so many friends grieving over the 5 teens killed in a crash in Irvine. The only one to survive the crash was driving the car, but he did not have a driver's license. Eyewitness News Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Freer talked to classmates of the students who were killed.
Grief counselors are helping at schools touched by this past weekend's tragedy.
I don't know what to do, and I'd rather somebody help me than me handle this by myself.
Mark Tagle knew 2 of the 5 teens killed in the fiery crash on the 5 freeway in Irvine. Alex Sotelo and Matthew Mello were 9th graders at Capistrano Valley High School. They played on the same soccer team.
Alex, he was always there for me, and he was always my role model. He was always such a nice person to me. He was always such a nice person to everybody around him.
Brandon Moreno, an 8th grader at Carl Henke School, and Jenny Campos and Jennifer Baena, who attended Laguna Hills High, were also passengers in the 1995 BMW. Their bodies discovered in the burnt wreckage early Saturday morning. They were on their way home from Not Scary Farm. The tragedy brought thousands out to a vigil last night.
These were students that were very involved in our schools and communities, and we know that it will deeply impact our community.
Bradley Morales, the 16-year-old driver, recovers in the hospital.
It's too early to say whether or not any criminal charges will be filed.
Authorities say they don't know how fast he was driving before losing control. They do know he should not have been behind the wheel.
It appears that the driver did not have a license and no permit. He had not even started the process of obtaining a driver's license.
Grief counselors were on hand at Eleanor Roosevelt High School in Corona today following the deaths of 4 recent graduates. Hundreds gathered for a memorial at the school last night. The 4 former students have been identified as Nathaniel Marin, Nathan Dominguez, Andrew De Leon, and Alex Horta. They were killed on Friday night when 3 vehicles collided and burst into flames on a 2-lane road in Chino. A 5th person, 47-year-old Luis Mendoza of Corona, was also killed.
An Angels fan is recovering at the hospital after being brutally beaten during Friday night's playoff game at Angel Stadium. 43-year-old Alex Arredondo is in serious condition at UC Irvine Medical Center in Orange. His family tells Eyewitness News he's a father of 3 and a Marine veteran. Anaheim police say Arredondo was also a former LAPD officer. Authorities are looking for 3 men suspected in this random attack. They're hoping Arredondo can provide them with information so they can catch those responsible.
2 men are under arrest. They're accused of the brutal beating of 2 other men at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. And this one was caught on tape. The men were assaulted inside the men's restroom before yesterday's San Francisco 49ers Kansas City Chiefs game. The victims were taken to the hospital. One is in serious condition with head injuries. The other has been released. Dario and Amador Roballero were taken into custody for felony assault.
A viewing today for a Covina motorcycle officer who was killed in a traffic crash. Family, friends, and fellow law enforcement members came out to the Custer Christensen mortuary to say their farewells to Officer Jordan Corder. He was on patrol when his motorcycle collided with an SUV last Tuesday. The 28-year-old will be laid to rest tomorrow at Pomona First Baptist Church at 11 a.m. Corder is a second-generation Covina police officer. He joined the force in 2007. Riverside Police hope you can help them find one of their own canines that went missing. Officers say Norin, an 80-pound short-hair Malinois, escaped from his enclosure around midnight. He's black with a white spot on his chest. He was last seen in the area of Villa del Lago and Iris in the city of Moreno Valley. Anyone who has seen him should call the Riverside Police Department at 951-987-7911.
New at 11, a former Southern California tutor has been charged for illegally changing the grades of several students. 29-year-old Timothy Lai has been charged with 1 count of second-degree commercial burglary and 4 felony counts of computer access and fraud. Lai allegedly gave students a hacking device and showed them how to use it. In December, Corona Del Mar High School said some students had hacked the school's computer system in order to change their grades and get access to their tests. If convicted, he is facing more than 5 years in prison.
Turning to the Ebola crisis, we are now in that 48-hour period in which we are most likely to see if anyone who was infected by the Ebola patient in Dallas. The patient in critical condition and is receiving an experimental drug in the fight for his life. ABC's Cecilia Vega has the latest.
As Thomas Eric Duncan fights for his life, doctors are now administering an experimental Ebola-fighting drug. This after officials had said that medicine would make him even sicker.
I can't answer whether if he would have taken that experimental medicine earlier or not would have made a difference. I can't answer that.
Since Duncan became the first Ebola patient ever diagnosed in the U.S., 800 calls a day pouring into the CDC, skyrocketing up from the usual 50. Officials now trying to ease fears.
We don't have an outbreak. We have one event that is being handled properly.
That American video journalist who contracted Ebola while working in Liberia reaching American soil this morning. That's Ashoka Mukpo in a hazmat suit walking off the plane in Omaha, Nebraska before heading to a hospital quarantine unit.
He looks strong. He walked off the plane, gingerly waved to us. You know, tentative and frightened.
In Dallas, where Duncan remains the only Ebola patient, the clock is ticking for the 10 people who had close contact with him. Now is the time Ebola symptoms would most likely start to show, 8 to 10 days after their last visit with him.
Hazmat teams finished cleaning out that Dallas apartment where Duncan had been staying with his family. That is where they could have been exposed. Those teams destroying nearly everything inside. They saved just a handful of personal items like some family photos and a family Bible. Cecilia Vega, ABC News, Dallas.
We are hearing from the parents of the first baby born to a woman with a womb transplant. Take a look at the world's first womb transplant baby born last month. Baby boy is a medical miracle. His mother, who was born without a womb, received a donated uterus. The Swedish parents say they're speaking out to give hope to other couples who are struggling with infertility, but they say they want to remain anonymous.
Yeah, I made history. It's hard to answer, but for us it feels like we are normal parents with a newborn baby. Lots of happiness and love for this little boy.
The woman gave birth to a healthy but premature boy by C-section. The baby is named Vincent, from the Latin meaning to conquer. The delivery doctor says it'll be years before such births become routine.
Wow. Well, the city of Folsom is paying tribute to country music icon Johnny Cash in a big way. We'll explain.
And protests today in Pasadena for a national monument proposal in the San Gabriel Mountains. Demonstrators are calling it a federal land grab.
And USA Swimming takes action following Michael Phelps' DUI arrest. Find out how long he will be out of competition.
A protest today at the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains. Some people want to turn the entire region into a national monument. Others, though, call it a federal land grab that would close recreational areas, including the Mount Baldy Ski Resort. Eyewitness News Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez spoke to people on both sides of the issue.
Save Baldy! Really? Yes, save Baldy!
Mount Baldy residents like their mountain community just the way it is.
This area has been the same for 50 to 100 years. It's the same houses, the same road, the same mountain trails. Nothing has changed.
Which is why many are up in arms about a congresswoman's proposal to designate 600,000 acres of the San Gabriel Mountains as a national monument. Resident and business owner Missy Ellingson says the status change could mean closing some areas and imposing fees.
It's very easy to be on the side of saving mountains. I think we all want to save our mountains. There are no limitations to any access up here. And they are saying that you would have more access, which is just a complete lie.
Congresswoman Judy Chu proposed the idea. She says there will be no additional fees. Chu says the plan would protect water resources while investing in hiking trail repair and improve visitor facilities like restrooms.
People can continue to hunt, hike, bike, and do off-road vehicle use. Those who have cabins will continue to be able to utilize them, and the ski resort in Mount Baldy will continue as before.
Chu is asking President Barack Obama to use his executive powers to make the change.
Shame on you! All right. Shame on you!
But outside her Pasadena office, many people gathered to protest what they are calling a federal land grab.
And most people don't know what's going on. It's because it's a big secret. They want to pass it before people know what's going on. They want to take away people's rights before they realize what has happened.
Leticia Waters, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
New at 8, the Northern California city of Folsom is paying tribute to country music icon Johnny Cash in a big way. Over the weekend, thousands of people came out to celebrate the grand opening of the new Johnny Cash Overcrossing, linking downtown with 40 miles of hiking and biking trails. Cash released his live album at Folsom Prison in 1968. The trail will even cross prison property. A fundraising drive is underway to pay for a 2-acre park next to the bridge and art installations along the trail, including a 40-foot tall steel statue of Cash.
All right. Cool. Should be dressed in black as a proper tribute. Jonathan Novak is here talking about the start of the week.
Yeah, well, the heat wave, it's gone, although you probably it's still hot.
Cooking outside.
I know. It's still hot, but the temperatures, instead of 15 to 20 degrees above average, are only about 10 to 13 degrees above average. I'm doing what I can, folks. We're going to cool it down even more, though, the next couple of days, so that's good news. Outside, we did have a time-lapse for you captured in Malibu. A few clouds here at the coast, and tomorrow morning, one of the issues in the forecast will be that marine layer. You're waking up at the coast to some fog tomorrow morning. So that is one of several elements that we want to focus in on for the forecast, along with some high surf we'll get to because of what's left there of Hurricane Simon down to the south. But for the meantime, today it was hot still, but not as hot. 99 Woodland Hills, 99 Riverside, Pasadena 97, Saugus 96. So temperatures were still running 10 to 15 degrees above average. We're gonna bring them down though tomorrow and even the next day. 73 in downtown right now. It's still warm. 82 Palmdale. Good evening to you. 83 Santa Clarita. 88 Palm Springs. On the coast, we're going to have some of those again. Low clouds moving in tonight. 70 in Santa Monica right now. See that moisture here. This is showing you the humidity. Still very dry inland. That relative humidity in the 20 percentile range, but it's going to be around 100%, giving us some of those low clouds tomorrow morning. So you'll wake up to some of that. You had that in Long Beach yesterday for sure, for instance. So this is what's left here to Simon. It's starting to weaken, continuing to weaken as it moves up to the northeast. Look at the cloud cover associated with it. Do we get rain from this? It doesn't look like it. Looks like rain's going to stay to the south and to the east, but we could see some of those high clouds stream on in. So that's one factor from Simon as it shifts off to the northeast away from us. And then high pressure, which was keeping us so hot, is breaking down. It's weakening. If you remember, last week and over the weekend, it was this big arc. Now it's starting to flatten out a little bit, and it's moving away. It's weakening, and in fact, you see a little area low pressure off to the west of us, and that's going to all help to keep us cooler. In the meantime, the surf is high because Simon is pushing that water up into the south-facing beaches. We have a swell 3 to 6 feet, Malibu and Huntington Beach there, so just watch out there. A little bit rough in the surf, but good for you surfers as well. Highs tomorrow, check it out, 87 Los Angeles. Yeah, it's above average, but nice improvement. We're finally back in the 80s. Lower 90s in the IE, 87 Irvine, and lucky 7s from Dana Point down to Oceanside. Enjoy it. Hey, this is not exactly fall weather, but, you know, I'll take it. I like it. Tuesday on through Wednesday, we're continuing that cool down, and we're finally back to average on Thursday and Friday. We have another warm-up coming up for this weekend, but it's nowhere near what we just had. So don't worry about any extreme heat in the next 7 days. Valleys, IE, tomorrow not as hot, still about 10 degrees above average, but we're back into the mid to upper 80s on Thursday and Friday, back in the 90s for the weekend. Good stuff. Mountains, you can't get much better than this. 60s throughout, a little bit breezy this weekend, but temperatures temperatures are generally around the mid-60s this time of year, so pretty much seasonable for you. And the high desert dropping down to the 80s by Wednesday and Thursday. 84 is your coolest day on Friday. We'll have more on the weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to the desk.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
Yep.
USA Swimming has suspended Michael Phelps for 6 months. The announcement comes a day after the Olympic swimmer said he's taken a short break from competition after a second DUI arrest last week. Phelps said on his Twitter account that he's beginning a 6-week inpatient program. Along with suspending him, USA Swimming forced Phelps to withdraw from next year's World Championships and took away funding from the sport's national governing body. Phelps said in a statement he accepts the sanctions and apologized for his actions. Arizona Cardinals running back Jonathan Dwyer has pleaded not guilty to assaulting his wife. He entered his plea at his arraignment this morning in Phoenix. Dwyer is charged with 1 felony and 8 misdemeanors, including assault. Prosecutors say Dwyer broke his wife's nose and punched her during 2 separate arguments in July. He's scheduled to be in court again next month. Dwyer is on the reserve non-football illness list, meaning he cannot play for the Arizona Cardinals again this season.
A friend of the Boston Marathon bombing suspect is on trial, accused of lying to the FBI. Opening statements began today. Prosecutors say 21-year-old Robel Philippos lied to investigators about being in Johar Tsarnaev's room when 2 other friends removed evidence. The lawyer for Philippos says he was a scared 19-year-old at the time whose memory was clouded by heavy marijuana use. The 2 friends have already been convicted of obstruction of justice.
Ahead on Eyewitness News, there's a new way to check out the Eiffel Tower in Paris, and it is not for the faint of heart.
Plus, see what it took to rescue this paraglider stuck on a cliff along the California coastline.
And we'll hear from the man who had to be rescued from the ocean in a giant bubble when we come back.
A paraglider is recovering from his injuries after crashing into a cliff near San Diego. Lifeguards got a 911 call that a glider was stuck on the side of a cliff above Black's Beach. Crews used a helicopter to hoist the 47-year-old man to safety. He was taken to the hospital after complaining of back and hip pain. The man was an experienced flyer from the United Kingdom. Not clear yet why he crashed.
An unusual rescue in the high seas of a man in an inflatable bubble trying to make it from Florida to Bermuda. He refused to stop despite repeated Coast Guard warnings about a potentially costly rescue.
You understand by your refusal to terminate this voyage, you're putting yourself in grave danger on the high seas? Yes.
Adventurer Reza Baluchi is seen being lifted to safety by a Coast Guard chopper. Baluchi planned to travel 3,500 miles in a human-powered bubble, but Saturday morning, 3 days into his journey, he triggered his emergency beacon 70 miles off the coast of Florida.
I run so much on the land. Now I try to see how it's different in the ocean.
The Coast Guard launched an A-16 helicopter and a C-130 patrol aircraft for the rescue, costing tens of thousands of dollars. It's likely Baluchi will not have to reimburse the government, and he says he may try his journey again.
A new way to experience the Eiffel Tower. To celebrate its 125th anniversary, the famous monument now has see-through glass floor panels on its first observation level. 4 small viewing sections, which cost $38 million to install, were unveiled to visitors today. The first level is only 187 feet high, but the vertigo-inducing view is not for the faint of heart.
Butterflies in my stomach, scared, hoping they did a good job building it, hoping I'm not that one guy that falls down. It was fun though.
The Eiffel Tower is the world's most visited paying attraction. It was built for the 1889 World's Fair.
Ooh, that would make me very, very nervous. Well, we are updating the evening's top stories next at 8:30, plus a rejection of appeals by the Supreme Court effectively legalized same-sex marriage in several more states. Up next, how this could affect same-sex couples legally married in California.
And a scary start to the school day for local students after a body was found on a local middle school campus.
Plus, an American teen is arrested by the FBI suspected of attempting to join ISIS. The details when we come back.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, families, friends, classmates, all in mourning for 5 teenagers killed in a crash early Saturday morning in Irvine. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
I'm Mark Brown in for David Ono. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. 16-year-old Bradley Morales survived and is in the hospital. He was driving the car, but he didn't have a driver's license. Investigators don't yet know what caused the crash or how fast the car was going.
Vice President Joe Biden is in town. He's appearing at a pair of Democratic fundraisers tonight. He waved as he left the Beverly Wilshire Hotel on his way to a second event in Brentwood. Watch out for continued traffic tie-ups on the west side. Tomorrow, he will attend a roundtable discussion with Mayor Eric Garcetti on raising the minimum wage. Later in the week, President Obama is expected to visit and attend a fundraiser at the home of actress Gwyneth Paltrow.
Same-sex marriage is now legal in 24 states, and that number could soon grow to 30 after the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear appeals in several cases. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has reaction to today's major ruling.
From D.C. to West Hollywood, here, a wave of relief.
It's about time. Just normal. I think it's really historical. It's good to see that people are so hungry to get equality out there.
It's a mix between about time and I can't believe it's here, if that makes sense.
The struggle over same-sex marriage worked its way up from the lower courts. Many had expected the Supreme Court to rule one way or the other, but instead it took a pass.
Well, it was a little surprising, but in a way it makes sense.
Professor Alan Ives of Loyola Law School has clerked in the Supreme Court. He says the justices are stepping away from what has become a political tide in favor of same-sex unions.
So many states and so many lower courts are all going in the exact same direction. The court has no reason to intervene at this point in time.
Utah, Oklahoma, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Virginia just legalized it with today's decision. Today, President Obama responded to the decision through his spokesperson.
A growing majority of Americans already recognize that marriage equality embodies our American values of fairness under the law.
It was a disappointment for the Republican governor of Wisconsin. Still,
the Court of Appeals decision is the law of the land, and we'll be upholding that.
Advocates for traditional marriage say they will fight on. According to the Alliance Defending Freedom, quote, the court's decision not to take up this issue now means that the marriage battle will continue. The people should decide this issue, not the courts, unquote. People like this gay man say they've made their decision.
But I think any couple lucky enough to find someone else that feels the same that they do, who would stand in the way of that?
Miriam Hernandez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A gruesome discovery on the grounds of a middle school campus in Northridge today. Firefighters say they discovered a body burned beyond recognition after they put out a fire in a rubbish pile. It was on the Noble Middle School campus in the 19,300 block of Lassen Street. Parents were notified, but the school says there was very little disruption.
I was sad and I was worried about my son being in school because driving this morning I could smell the smoke.
They did give us reassurance. We called. We said nothing happened to the children from this school.
Police say it's too early to tell whether this is a homicide investigation. The area has been fenced off, but the school will be open and operating normally tomorrow.
A major reward is being offered now in the hopes of catching the killer of an LA County Sheriff's Department security officer. 33-year-old Calvin Gray was shot and killed in July while dropping off his son in South LA. Police say somebody fired into his car in the 1000th block of West 76th Street. Today, the LA County and Professional Peace Officers Association announced a $30,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the killers. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call LA Regional Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS.
An American teen has been arrested suspected of trying to join the terror group ISIS. The arrest comes as a significant step forward in the U.S. military's fight against ISIS.
19-year-old Mohammed Hamza Khan stood before a federal judge today in Chicago, accused of trying to join ISIS. Authorities arrested him at O'Hare International Airport Saturday. Khan had a round-trip ticket from Chicago to Istanbul. In an interview with FBI agents and a letter to his parents, Khan indicated he did not plan to return and was on his way to join ISIS. Extremist groups want to attract Westerners to join their fight. ABC7 military analyst Hal Kemper says it's good that many are being arrested before they ever make it overseas.
The fear is that they go over there, they get training, they get further radicalized, they got a Western passport, and then they're just going to turn right around and head back and basically be delivering a terrorist attack somewhere in the west.
ISIS is now threatening another American held hostage.
Our son is Abdul Rahman, formerly known as Peter.
Abdul Rahman Kassig's parents are making a desperate plea for his release after ISIS posted this video saying Kassig would be the next to be executed. The 26-year-old was in Syria providing medical care for civilians when he was kidnapped. He has now converted to Islam. 2 years ago, he spoke to CNN.
We each get one life, and that's it. You get one shot at this.
Meantime, the U.S. airstrikes against ISIS continue, and for the first time, Apache helicopters were used against targets in Iraq, an increase in the risk to U.S. personnel.
For example, heavy machine guns. Depending on where they're flying and how close they're flying, they could be hit with something like a rocket-propelled grenade. And, of course, any shoulder-fired air defense missiles that ISIS or ISIL may have on the ground. All of these pose major threats.
One other significant development, Turkey, which shares a border with Syria, has joined the coalition.
If we use their air bases, instead of flying 2 hours to hit a target in Syria, we can fly potentially 15, 20 minutes, turn around, come back, reload, put that plane right back in the air.
And Hal Kemper also says Turkey joining the U.S.-led coalition will really put pressure on ISIS, especially in the town that the terror group has been trying to seize for several days now. That town borders Turkey, and it's unclear if Turkey will use its ground forces against the terror groups.
Prosecutors in Mexico are working to identify nearly 30 bodies found in a grave south of Mexico City. They say the bodies are badly damaged, and it could take weeks, if not months, to determine if these are some of the 43 college students who were attacked by police. Police clashed with student protesters a week ago. Prosecutors are still investigating a motive, adding some of the police officers have connections to a local drug cartel. Meantime, 2,000 protesters blocked a main highway demanding justice in the case.
We're getting a look at surveillance video in the so-called toxic tea case we've been following. It's from a restaurant in Utah. The woman in blue, 67-year-old Jan Harding, took a drink of iced tea, realized something was wrong, then spit it out. The tea contained chemical cleanser. She suffered burns to her mouth, tongue, and esophagus and was hospitalized for 6 days, part of the time on a respirator, but she has since recovered. Police say a restaurant employee mistook a container of lye for a container of sugar. No word yet on whether criminal charges will be filed.
Coming up, he was one of several children around the country to come down with a mysterious illness months ago.
Now this local boy and his family finally have an answer about what's to blame. We're going to show you how he's doing now.
And Garbage Day becomes kind of an all-you-can-eat buffet, while we can expect to see so many more bears this year. And can you guess how many calories this big guy chowed down today?
Jonathan Novak here. All right, it was hot today, but believe it or not, we started to cool down, and temperatures will be cooling down even more. That 7-day forecast. Stick around for details.
A severe respiratory virus infecting children across the country is now being blamed for the death of a New Jersey preschooler. This is the first confirmed fatality attributed solely to enterovirus D68. Medical investigators say 4-year-old Eli Waller went to sleep the night of September 24th and never woke up. Enterovirus has sickened more than 500 people in 43 states, including here in Southern California. And more than 24 cases, the victims have also suffered some type of paralysis.
Well, the parents of a local boy with that mysterious paralyzing disease finally got some answers about what caused their son to get so sick. Health specialist Denise Dodor explains how doctors were able to connect the dots back to the enterovirus outbreak.
Why do you want me to carry you upstairs? Because why?
Every now and then, 3-year-old Lucian Oliveira of Moore Park wants his mom Erin to help him get around, but she knows it's important Lucian try on his own.
You're sad that they're disabled. You give in more. You know, and I'm afraid with Lucian, if I give in and carry him up the stairs one time, am I going to start carrying him up the stairs all the time?
As you can see, Lucian is learning to tackle any obstacle. We met him back in March when doctors were calling his condition a mysterious polio-like syndrome. His mom says seeing clusters of similar cases on the news is like reliving her nightmare.
And each day, more and more are showing up. It's very heartbreaking.
Now, a new CDC study finds of the 23 California children diagnosed with the strange polio-like syndrome, 2 of them tested positive for enterovirus D68. Lucian's doctor is very sure he had the same virus.
He was confident that it was enterovirus 68.
In June 2012, Lucian suffered a really bad cold. Within a week, he started feeling muscle weakness. Within 24 hours of that, his left leg wouldn't move.
Before Lucian could even learn how to walk, he had to relearn how to crawl. But with each baby step, he got stronger. Today, he's practicing for Halloween. Getting Lucian the proper care was a struggle, and continues to be. But Erin understands the process, so now she's reaching out to other families whose children are just at the beginning of this difficult journey.
You know, this was not anything known when we went. Now it's known, so hopefully they'll have a better outcome.
He may need special equipment, but Erin is positive one day her son will walk. But most importantly, she wants Lucian to feel whole.
He's smiling. He's happy. And that's our goal. Make sure Lucian stays happy.
Erin wants to give other families hope. And it's important to reiterate that enterovirus D68 is transmitted through droplets in the air. So it's important for parents to teach their kids to cough and sneeze into their shoulder or into their elbow to help prevent spreading. In the newsroom, Denise Dodor, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Still to come, it's physics class as you've never seen it or heard before.
We'll show you how NASA is using hip-hop to teach the next generation of scientists.
And the San Francisco look to end the Washington's season. Highlights from Game 3 in the Bay Area ahead in sports.
Here's another sign that bears are getting really busy in California right now. Check out this big guy spotted rooting through somebody's garbage early this morning in Monrovia. This was on the 400th block of North Myrtle Avenue. Wildlife officials say the statewide drought has made food more scarce up in the mountains, although looking at this guy, there's no scarce food in his life, right? Wow, that's a big bear. Yeah. Garbage day in the foothills more enticing than ever. Bears are always more active at this time of year. Their typical food intake jumps from 3,000 calories a day to 25,000 calories a day. If you were a human, if it was human, that'd be the equivalent of 83 cheeseburgers. And quite a sight off the coast of Laguna Beach. A pod of sperm whales spotted today. Whale watchers from Dana Point snapped these pictures. Passengers were stunned at how many there were, as dozens were seen all at once. Even experienced whale watchers say seeing so many whales together at one time can be a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
What a great sight to go out there. It must have been pretty good weather. It's cooler, as you say, but it's not really
Yeah, it's all relative. By the way, I need that bear just took everything. I need him to clean my place. Good. Yes, it was cooler, but still hot today. But temperatures are still going down tomorrow, and then the next day, even more. So I think we'll get back, not to average, but pretty close. Outside, hey, look at this. I got a really cool time lapse. Check that out, guys. Burbank, yeah.
Nice. Well,
how about that? As the sun, the last inklings there at the beginning of the time lapse, sun going down, and the cars going fast. That's what time lapse does. All right, all next today, this is our downtown shot and our downtown temperature. Today it was 92. So normally we're at 80. Yes, it was hot, but we weren't at the triple digits. We weren't near triple digits. So tomorrow we'll be dropping those temperatures down even more. Burbank, where we just had that time lapse, 79 degrees. Clouds, we've got scattered clouds around the area, and at the coast it is mostly cloudy. Look at this, our LAX shot, 70 degrees. Fog is in the forecast for you because we've got some humidity levels that are going to be around 100% come tomorrow morning for the coastal areas, so watch out for some patchy, dense fog to wake you up. Temperatures elsewhere, good evening. Van Nuys, it is 81 for you and Ontario, 88 Palm Springs, mid-70s from Santa Ana up toward Long Beach. A warm night, another warm night, and several elements going on here in the weather, some changes. One of those is the fog I mentioned. Another one is this high surf advisory for south-facing beaches through tomorrow night. Why? Well, the remnants of Simon, Tropical Storm Simon, moving from the southwest to the northeast. This is all south of us, and as it moves to the northeast, it is giving us that circulation counterclockwise, and that's pushing up some of those waters into the south-facing beaches, and so tomorrow the surf will be rough. So just keep that in mind. On top of that, some of that moisture will play out in the shape of rain to the south. I don't have the rain in our area. It is just to the south of us and off to the east. So we'll keep it dry, but we are keeping it cooler because high pressure, when all this is going on, is weakening. We just have some cloud cover tomorrow. High pressure weakening, temperatures going down. All spells very nice weather overall. Just a few clouds at the coast to wake you up tomorrow morning. Huntington Beach, 78. 87 in Los Angeles, lower 90s in IE, definitely bearable. It's not fall weather, but, you know, they're certainly not scorching, hot, sizzling weather like last week, so we'll take it. 85 on Wednesday in your 7-day forecast, and then, yeah, there you go, Thursday and Friday we're to the lower 80s, and then the weekend looking good. We have a warm-up, but it's nothing too extreme. Valleys, IE, you're in the lower 90s for the next 2 days, finally back into the 80s, still above average the whole way through. Unseasonably warm, but again, not hot. Mountains are pretty much right at average, mid to upper 60s. A few high clouds streaming in. Again, we've got those cirrus clouds. I think we'll see some of that from Simon. No rain, though. Everybody's dry. High desert, a little breezy, but beautiful. 87 on Wednesday and Thursday, down to 84, your coolest day of the forecast on Friday, and then a little bit of warm up toward the weekend. Enjoy it. Nothing too bad. I think we can relax. Nothing that the AC can't handle in the forecast. Guys, back to the desk.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you.
Welcome.
An emotional moment in last night's Bengals-Patriots game, and it had nothing to do with football. It was all about a 4-year-old girl. During a timeout, the Patriots cheerleaders all wore the jersey of Bengals player Devin Still, while a video of his daughter Leah played on the big screen. You might remember the story. 4-year-old Leah has a rare form of cancer, and the Bengals kept Still on the team so his health insurance would pay for her treatments. She had surgery this week to remove a tumor, and doctors say it was successful. In addition to the in-game tribute, the Patriots owner donated $25,000 to the hospital that is treating Leah.
Sports now, the Dodgers are looking to take control of their series in St. Louis. Hyun-Jin Ryu back on the mound for the first time since September 12th. when he experienced some shoulder pain after just one inning against San Francisco. Right now, 3-1 Cardinals in the 8th inning. San Francisco looking to close out Washington in the Bay Area. They were scoreless in the 7th. Wilson Ramos drops down the bunt. Madison Bumgarner fields it cleanly, but his throw goes into the bullpen. That brings around Ian Desmond, and with the ball rolling in no man's land, Bryce Harper takes advantage, coming around from second base to score. That makes it a 2-run lead. Now to the top of the 9th. Nats up 3-zip. Harper strikes again, crushing this pitch down the middle of the plate, sending it deep to the right field seats. And that is a souvenir nobody wants. Nats hold off elimination. They won 4-1. College football, UCLA suffered a huge shot to their title hopes when they lost to Utah. The Bruins sputtered on offense, and the defense gave up nearly 300 yards on the ground. Not going to get any easier this weekend when the Bruins welcome Oregon to the Rose Bowl. And with both teams taking one in the L column this past weekend, the loser on Saturday could see their title hopes disappear for good.
It really hurt us, the loss, and we mourned the loss, and now we're back on our feet, and that's what we focus on, 24-hour rule. That's what we're excited to play. We get another chance to play this great game, and everyone's on board.
It's a big game for us, but like I said, this game isn't any bigger than any other game previously. So this is another game, obviously, the whole nation is going to be watching, and we can go out and show the country what UCLA is really about.
Preseason in the NBA, the Lakers hosting the Nuggets tonight in San Diego, while the Clippers open up their exhibition play tomorrow night against the Warriors at Staples Center. The Clippers returned from their Las Vegas training camp on Saturday, and the first thing Chris Paul did was to go to Dodger Stadium and root for the team and Matt Kemp.
Big fan. Obviously, I'm close with Matt Kemp, and as soon as we got back from Vegas, my wife and my son picked me up, and we went straight to the game. I stood up right before he came to bat, and I was excited for him, and to see him hit the home run, I think it meant a lot. I actually got chills because that was a big play and a huge win for the Dodgers.
And we'll have your Laker and Dodger highlights coming up later on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock.
And more news straight ahead here at 8:30, and news tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. A disabled man attacked while riding a motorized scooter in Hollywood. Now the search is on for his killer. And stunning video of a train slamming into a semi-truck, and wait until you hear how the driver survived. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
It's that time of year again, the announcement of the Tournament of Roses Royal Court in Pasadena.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 Royal Court.
The 7 young women were selected from among 700 applicants and 31 finalists. Today's formal announcement at the Tournament House in Pasadena culminates with the 126th Rose Parade and the Rose Bowl game. One of the 7 members of the Royal Court will be crowned Rose Queen on October 21st. And the Grand Marshal of the New Year's Day Rose Parade was to be former Olympian and World War II hero Louis Zamperini. He passed away in July at the age of 97, 2 months after being named Grand Marshal. So his family will step in on New Year's Day. Zamperini was named Grand Marshal to symbolize the 126th Rose Parade's theme, inspiring stories. His life inspired the best-selling book and soon-to-be-released movie, Unbroken.
An entertaining way to get students interested in math and science.
Hip-hop dancers put on a unique show today at a South LA middle school. As Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth shows us, the program uses dance to teach kids about some basic principles of physics.
This is one way to get kids interested in math and science, hip-hop. Dancers with Forces in Motion, or FMA Live, a popular hip-hop physics education program, entertained students at Markham Middle School in L.A.
It was really cool how they did that hip-hop thing, and then they talked about how cool it was in math and science. If you learn them, you can do so many things.
They helped me discover my math and science interests. If you don't even want to be a NASA person or something, you can still make a good career.
The program has traveled to 1,000 schools across the country on this current tour. Dancers not only try to get students interested in math and science through hip-hop, but also by allowing them to participate in various skits and games to show them how math and science applies to their daily lives.
And what you see here is a fun way to bring science to life. Many times students don't connect with science because of, we're teaching it in a traditional way.
Honeywell and NASA spearheaded this effort a decade ago, traveling all over the country, working to get more students involved and interested in math and science.
I think Honeywell and NASA actually did a really good job of engaging the students in the 3 laws of physics that we learned today.
One of the laws of physics is inertia, where an object either remains at rest or continues to move at a constant velocity.
Looks like Caleb's motion was acted on by an outside force.
Yep. Unless acted upon by an external force.
Gravity.
That's right. The universal laws of gravity. There was even a video where an actor portraying Sir Isaac Newton explained the laws of physics and also talked about the many job opportunities in fields related to math and science.
Did you know that for every 1 astronaut that goes up into space, there are 300 jobs on the ground?
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
Scientist.
Sweet. In South LA, Leo Stallworth, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. Law & Order SVU is next here on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com. Remember, you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and downloading our ABC7 app.
Good night.